Cancer changes everything. And what happens after that first diagnosis, during and after treatment? This year the theme for the storytelling was the new normal. Cancer is a very personal experience, yet you don't experience it alone necessarily. And our first storytellers are Michael and Margo Stolfi, who will shed light and tears and some laughs in their new normal. Michael and Margo.
Are you ready to ring the bell, Mr. Stolfi?
When you finish your last round of radiation, the hospital staff gets really excited, smiley and clappy, and ask you to ring this bell that's mounted outside the treatment room. The ringing the bell signifies the end of all your treatments. I wasn't really happy, wasn't really smiling. Thank you so much for nuking my head for 6 weeks. Apologies for my lack of excitement or sense of accomplishment. I don't really want to ring your damn bell. In not my finest moment, I walked right past their smiles, said thanks, and angrily flicked the bell without even breaking stride. Margo was in the waiting room, ready for me. Oh, the waiting room. That place. I wasn't going to miss that place either. It smelled like urine, sick people, and burnt coffee. I wasn't going to miss sitting in those super comfy chairs, looking at all the other cancer patients around me that were twice my age. This wasn't in my plans. The last car ride home was a little quieter than the previous ones. My head felt like someone had punched the ever-living hell out of me. It was unlike our first car ride home, where I sat there all happy and excitedly exclaimed to Margo, "That wasn't nothing." The first radiation treatment wasn't so bad, but after each treatment, I felt a little worse and a little more defeated. Radiation was truly kicking my ass. Margo, she wears a happy face. She wears it very well. I, on the other hand, wear my feelings on my shoulders, and it can get super ugly. During the last car ride home from radiation, I was a bitter man. I looked out the window at the city of Houston in pure disgust. Everything made me mad. I absolutely hated Texas. Texas was the antithesis of our life here in Oregon, and everything we loved about this place. As we pulled into the driveway of our temporary home, Margo gently asked me, "What's wrong, baby?" What the hell do you think is wrong? I didn't want to be there. I'm a young man. I wanted to be enjoying my life, planning camping trips, not getting radiation beams shot through my brain. I wanted to have everyday problems like paying bills, not, "You might die," problems. Even still, I still have the bill problems. So my treatment was completed, and I had nothing left to actively fight. During treatment, I had a to-do list a mile long. Eat right, walk every day, take this pill, take that pill, and that pill, and that pill, and that pill. Harness the discomfort of chemo and radiation. With all of these things over, I was looking down a different road. The medical team basically said to me, "Mr. Stolfi, we have fixed you. Go back to work. Try to get back to your normal life." Get back to my life? Just like that? Just jump on the happy train and choo-choo into the sunset, okay? They were telling me to get back to my life, but only for increments of 2 months. After 2 months, I go back and have another brain scan to see if my lovely tumor has returned. By the way, that lovely tumor is the most aggressive type. It kills half of all patients in the first year and 97% of them within 5 years. But the medical team kept telling me, "You're a healthy man, those stats don't apply to you." Okay, I was pretty healthy to begin with, but I still managed to develop this fatal cancer. Imagine telling a kid on the playground to go have fun. Then tell that kid to come back and sit down after 5 minutes. Then tell him to go play again. And then sit down. Play, sit down. Again, and again, and again, and again. That's my life. I can go play and get back to my life, but every 2 months, I have to make sure I can still go play again. When you tell a man these things, he starts to map out his life a little bit differently. Long-term goals like buying a house and retirement have absolutely no value to me. What do I care about a potential retirement in 20 years? I might not make it to 20 years. I can't even continue my nursing career. Long-term goals mean absolutely nothing to me. You want to hear my long-term goal? Stay alive.
Smile. Even though the world around you is crumbling down. Smile. Even though the man that you have declared your love for, that you've committed your life to, that you saw a future growing old together with, is being threatened to be ripped from your hands. Yes. Smile on the outside. But on the inside, I am screaming. I am jumping up and down. I am pulling out my hair. I am having a tantrum. My heart is breaking because the man that I have fallen in love with, his life now yields to uncertainty, a clock whose ticks threaten to fade out. I scream on the inside, this is not fair. We've been married only 2 years. We have a small child. But cancer does not care about this. So I smile for Michael. I smile on the outside because the best thing I can do is be strong. I smile for hope. Hope that there is a future if we can only brave this storm. You see, the day Michael was diagnosed, I learned that being a caregiver can be very hard. It's not just about taking care of one person. It's about it's not about being strong for one person. It's about being strong for multiple people. For me, this encompassed my family. This meant being strong for Michael, our daughter, and myself. I knew it was important during Michael's chemotherapy for him to be active, so I pushed him. I pushed him to get up. I pushed him to take walks. Sometimes I found myself being his personal cheerleader, and sometimes just the annoying wife trying to get him up and moving. Prior to Michael's diagnosis, I had the luxury of working part-time and taking care of our daughter. Michael worked full-time. He was considered the breadwinner for our family. It was a good balance, and we were content. After they found the brain tumor, we had to switch roles. Michael became a stay-at-home dad, and I started working full-time and carried the benefits for the family. These decisions carried their own weight. You see, Michael never chose to be the stay-at-home dad, and I never thought I'd be considered the breadwinner. But we've been wearing these hats now for 2 years. Sometimes tensions would rise, we'd have arguments, but we learned that we have to move on. Michael's mood swings can be very intense depending on what is going on in our life. Sometimes I feel like I'm walking on thin ice when I just begin to speak. Timing and approach would be key to how well our conversations would flow. It would just take one small phrase for the ice to crack and our argument would follow. I remember after one of these arguments, I called my mom and I was beyond exhausted, mentally drained. I was tired of wearing that constant smile, tired of staying continually positive. I was mad. For one simple argument could unveil a host of dark and raw emotions. Emotions that didn't even have to do with what we were truly arguing about. I remember crying to my mom as I vented, walking down random neighborhood roads, venting about Michael's temperament, the balance act around his emotions, and just how tired I was of everything. I needed a sanctuary. I needed my mom's voice telling me that it was going to be okay, and for me to believe it. My mother was concerned. She asked if I was seeing a support group for caregivers. I just laughed and said, that's what I'm using you for. But she was serious. She urged me to seek a group I could confide in, vent to my troubles. A support group for me? That sounds nice, but do I truly need that? I mean, everything revolves around how Michael's doing. Another appointment to add to the list of things to be done. Another appointment in a setting overstretched and honestly already coming undone. Would another appointment truly help? My mom went on further and explained that marriage can be hard, and when you have something like cancer added to it, it can even make it more difficult. And that Michael is going through something life-altering, but that so am I. I considered her words, and at the time, I thought, maybe later. Maybe later is too often a caregiver's remarks when regarding themselves. You see, when you're taking care of someone you love, everything that happens to you takes backseat. If you're sick, injured, just having a down day, it feels irrelevant compared to what Michael's going through. I tell myself, I don't have cancer. Suck it up. Be strong. But I too want to be comforted. This feeling makes me feel selfish, like I'm a little kid again, declaring my need for chicken noodle soup and lots of attention. But I'm not a kid. I'm a grown woman, and I have needs too. As a pediatric nurse, I often see parents of children forget about their own basic needs. They may not eat, sleep. They're riddled with concern. I often remind these parents that they must take care of themselves to better able to take care of their children's needs. You would think that the person giving such awesome advice would tend to follow it. So, one of my coping mechanisms, one of my many coping mechanisms, but one of them is I ignore Michael's prognosis. I trash it. I don't want to live each day thinking I only have weeks, months, just a few years with my husband. How depressing is that? I want to imagine the decades we still have left together, living life together, raising our daughter together. I want to feel like a normal family with normal problems. Don't want to concentrate on the ifs or what statistics say. Those thoughts do not benefit me or make me more prepared. For I will never be prepared for the day I have to say goodbye to the love of my life. So why harness that? Why live our life in a way that is so limiting just to hope to be proven wrong? So this is where me and Michael differ in our coping. Michael likes to think worst case scenario. In fact, he embraces it. If it's bad, he's prepared. And if it's good, then it's a small victory. Our coping mechanisms could not be more different. And as a result, our life goals are very different. Michael likes to think date night, vacation, maybe a trip home in a few months. I want to know what school Cora will go to in a couple of years. What is the prospects of being homeowners instead of renters? What are my retirement options? These conversations can be difficult, showing how obviously different we are in our views, our goals. You see, Michael needs these short-term goals so he does not feel overwhelmed with the future holds. And I need these long-term goals to let me know that Michael's here for the long run. And we need these goals together so that we can move forward together. So what's my new normal? I can tell you that my new normal is stressing every 2 months that the MRI of Michael's head is going to show something unwanted. Or filtering my Google searches on the latest clinical trials or research that brings promise to Michael's care. But that's not what my new normal is about. My new normal is a focus on life. I'm not talking about short-term or long-term goals, challenges, big or small. It's concentrating on the ones I love, especially Michael. My daughter, our daughter. And myself. My new world is balance. What we put out into this world to others should be matched by what we put into ourselves, to myself. This is easy to say here on stage, and we know life is not easy. But just like anything, you work for what you want. And I want to take in every beautiful moment to appreciate life and its fragility. I choose the present. I choose living.
So what's my new normal? That's why we're here, right? I'm only able to stand before you and actually answer that question because of this beautiful woman standing next to me, this beautiful soul. I'll be blunt with you, in my heart of hearts, I truly believe I'm alive today because of her. Without the love that she gives me, without the unconditional love that she gives our life, I would have folded a long time ago. You ask anybody close to me, and they'll tell you the same thing. I know I can sound like a bitter man sometimes, but destroying my long-term outlook on life, it actually did good things to me. I focus on the here and now because that 2-month MRI comes around in the blink of an eye. I focus on a few major things I want to do in my life, and I go do those things. The moment when I started to look away from what has been in my life and started to look towards what will be, that's the moment my new normal began. I started picking up the pieces of my life. Outwardly, I'm exuding confidence. On the inside, I'm struggling. I'm struggling hard. Maybe that just comes with being an adult, despite life circumstances. Cancer diagnosis changed our lives, but it allowed us to experience the beauty of human compassion and it strengthened our love for each other. Although our daughter Cora, our daughter, although she's still young, we're grateful she's experiencing this beautiful aspect of humanity. What a great life lesson. There's been a great deal to learn in facing my own mortality. Some of these things never had importance in my life prior to cancer diagnosis, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn from past ignorance. I've learned to accept the support of others, because without it, you will sink. Life will give you the chance to reciprocate that support. I've learned not to take myself too seriously. I've learned to think about what others are going through before I embark. Their life may be falling apart around them just like mine was. I learned not to hold feelings because other people need to know just how amazing you think they are. I learned to say I love you more often because it's the best damn phrase ever invented. I love you, Mom. And finally, I've learned to see life as a bunch of opportunities, not a bunch of obstacles. I truly believe we have to visit our darkest moments in order to appreciate the greatest ones. I take myself back to that ER bed in June 2012 where I was told I might die that night. I totally fell apart. New memories. And those memories, the memories will last forever. Thank you.